What's up, gang? I wanted to show you how I make these really easy, convenient meals on the go that will help you stay on track for the entire week. My name is Amanda Nybert. I'm a registered dietitian, and I want to help you make healthy eating simple and fast. And that's what I love about these little kind of to-go meals that you can make on Sunday to use throughout the week. You can use them as lunches, you can use them as quick dinners, whatever you want. So today I'm gonna make a simple sweet potato with some sauteed mushrooms and onions and some really easy sliced beef that I got from Costco. Prepping these beforehand is gonna save you so much time for the week to come. Yes, you could easily throw this together one morning to grab for lunch, but you're probably less likely to do that. So get about 3-4 of these containers and go ahead and pre-prep these before you go on Sunday. So what I'm gonna do, and I know for my clients, we track macros. So sometimes making things like this gets you a little out of whack because you're not quite sure how to determine the macros. So I do that on Sunday, first and foremost. All you're gonna need is a really simple food scale, and you can find this on my Amazon kit. I'll link it in the comments below, or you can find it in my bio on Instagram. So what I'm gonna start out with is I just went ahead and roasted a bunch of sweet potatoes. You can see I have a couple of more over here. 2 sweet potatoes, cut them in half, roasted those up so they're really ready and good to go. And then what I'm gonna try to do is try to get equal parts of sweet potatoes in these containers. So I'm just gonna turn on my scale. I'm gonna put it to grams because that's just the easiest way to kind of, track whole foods like this. And then I'm just gonna simply kind of weigh these out, all right? And so this one's 168 grams, and then this one is 129 grams. So I went ahead and cut off a little bit of this sweet potato. So all I'm gonna do is continue to kind of remove this sweet potato, add it to this sweet potato until they're about equal. So I want each of them to be about 150 grams of, well, it's just 150 grams. We're just gonna weigh it out. So then I have my other sweet potatoes, and that's gonna be my goal. So this is right at 150 grams. So I can go ahead and start making this third one. So this is perfect. So I want all of my sweet potatoes to be about 150 grams. So that way, when I log it, I know that they're all about equal. Now, with these other sweet potatoes, I went ahead because, you don't want just a plain sweet potato. You need a little bit of butter. So I went ahead and added a half a tablespoon, half a teaspoon of butter. So again, I can kind of easily go ahead and track that. So that's right there. So all 3 of these little containers are gonna have about 150 grams of sweet potatoes and about a teaspoon, half a tablespoon of butter, okay? Super easy to track. Now, let's move on to my mushrooms and onions. Now, I sauteed these mushrooms and onions with my favorite avocado oil spray, which is essentially 0. So I didn't really add a significant amount of fats to these mushrooms and onions. Now, had I added a little bit of butter, I'd probably account for that a little bit. What I did is I used Worcestershire sauce to saute them in. So, and that's really only about 5 calories, pretty insignificant. I'm not even gonna worry about logging that. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna wipe off my scale because it's got nice little butter on it from that sweet potato. I'm gonna go ahead and put my entire container on my food scale, and then I'm gonna zero it out. So now I'm at 0 grams. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and add just a little bit of kind of each of the onions and the mushrooms. Okay, so that's 55 grams, all right? So I'm gonna start there and see how far I get with, and these are the macros are so low. Oh, oops. I forgot to zero this out. So, oh no, actually it should be right because they all weigh about the same. Boop, 55 grams, perfect. I'll go ahead and make sure, and I will zero this out just by hitting that, get it to 0, and then I'm gonna add about 55 grams. And let's see where that gets me. There we go, so that's 55 grams. So I still have stuff left over. I don't wanna waste this. So I'm gonna go ahead and add another 10 grams. Okay, so that went to 80. All right, so we're gonna shoot for 80 grams on all of these. So actually, what I'm gonna do is zero it out, and I know I have 55 grams in here, so I'm gonna add about 25 more grams to each of these. Perfect. There, 25. It doesn't have to be perfect, okay? It doesn't have to be perfect. So we know that, let's see here. Where does that fall? Yep. So we know that each of these have 150 grams of sweet potatoes. Each of these have 80 grams of mushrooms and onions. So I'll probably log 40 grams of mushrooms, 40 grams of onions. Trust me, they're gonna be super low macro. And then the last thing we have to add is our sliced steak. So 1 serving of the sliced steak is 84 grams for 3 ounces, okay? And then in 3 ounces is only 120 calories and 18 grams of protein. So I wanna start out by figuring out how many grams are actually in this one pack, because it's gonna vary. So in this pack, I have 475 grams of protein. So I'm gonna be able to do about 125 grams per meal kit, since I've got 3 of them. So that's what I'm gonna work on. So I'm gonna open this up, and because I'm gonna use all this juice and everything, because when we reheat these, it's gonna be amazing. So again, I'm gonna put my container back on my scale. I'm gonna zero it out, and then I'm gonna aim for about 125 grams. Look how yummy that, it's so good. It's even good cold. Okay, so that's about a 146. So I'm gonna take a little bit off of that, and then that's 110. See how finagling it is? Let me take a smaller piece off of that. It's so crazy how little. Okay, so that's 130. Close enough, okay? So there we go. Now let's go to this one, zero it out. And then I'm gonna aim for about 125, 130. Let's see what this is. That's 97. A little bit more. 130, perfect. So good. Last one, zero it out. And I mean, technically this should all make it perfect. Look at that. So this one's a little bit heavier, 146. Maybe I will just take out just a smidge. There you go, 130. I can snack on this right now. So good. And then I'm just gonna take a little bit of these juices, which probably accounted for a little bit of those grams, and I'm just gonna pour that over all 4 of these. And I have yummy, quick and easy meals that I can grab and eat throughout the week. Now, once I heat these up, I love to eat these with some arugula. So I will pour these on a glass plate, heat it up, and then I will toss it with some arugula. So good, so good. The other thing that you have to use on all of this is your everything bagel seasoning. It is so good. So then all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna enter these into my Fitness Pal, and I'll enter each item separately. My sweet potatoes, my butter, my mushroom, my onions, and my beef. Just gonna scan the barcode. And I will create a unique meal that I can easily log for the rest of the week. So I'm gonna put that at the end of this video. I hope this is helpful. If you found this little segment helpful, use the share button and share it with your friends and family. Use the save ribbon so you can save it for later. And shoot me a picture when you create these yummy steak and onions and sweet potato meals. Perfect for a regular carb day. Okay, gang, I want to show you how you can really easily create a meal for the little kits that we just made. So all you have to do is go to Add Food and then use the plus sign at the upper right-hand side and go down to Create a Meal. Then we're going to simply name it. So we'll name it Sweet Potatoes and Steak. You could say sweet potato steak and mushrooms, whatever is going to work best for you. So then we're going to go down to meal items and we're going to start adding our meals. Now I'm going to start, I've actually been playing around with this, so a lot of the ingredients are right there in my history, but I'm going to go ahead and start with my steak. And all I'm going to do is scan the barcode, which is going to be super easy. Now, remember, 3 ounces was 84 grams of steak, and we did 140 grams for the servings that we had. So I'm going to go ahead and use 85 grams as my serving. And then I'm going to say that we did let's see here, 85. So that would be almost 2 servings. So I'm going to guesstimate and do about 3/4. 1 3/4 is going to be about 140 grams of the steak. So I'm going to add that. Then I'm going to go and I'm going to search my onions. And I want to show you something a little bit about the onions. So I go in here and I click on raw onions. You know, I love to choose products with the green check, okay? And this is for 1 cup of onions. Now, I weighed out my onions in grams, and we had 80 grams of mushrooms and onions total. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to change this to grams, okay? So down here, you've got 1 gram, 1 grams, 1 grams. Okay, so 1 gram is not 40 calories. I promise you. 1 gram would be more like this, 5 calories. So watch out for that. See how that can be super confusing? I'm not sure what this is measuring, the GS, but this looks a lot better. Now, when I add this and when I put 40 grams, I'm still going to be a little concerned about this number, because if you look at my containers, it literally had like 6 pieces of onions in it. This is not right. There is no way those 6 pieces of onions had 200 calories. So I'm not going to use this option. It's always good to kind of double check. If something looks off, it probably is off. So I'm going to go find another onion that I can find that's measured in grams. That's kind of the hard part. So that's not in grams. Let's see down here. I don't want to use this one because this is with added butter, and I didn't add butter to my onions, remember? So I'm going to go with the Morrison's onions because that's kind of like a food company. And this one measures it in grams, 100 grams. So I had about a half a serving of onions. So that, trust me, looks a lot better for 6 tiny slices of onions. Very low macro. So I'm going to add that one. Then I'm going to go in and I'm going to search my mushrooms. And I'm going to look that up, search, and it's going to give me a couple of options. I'm going to try to find one with potentially a green check, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. So let's see here. This one is Portobello cat mushroom. So let's see if I can, if that gives me a gram. Nope. So that's not going to work. Mushrooms, maybe if I put an S on it. Stuffed mushrooms, I don't want that. Lobster mushrooms, I don't want that. Like, can we just get some plain mushrooms? Here we go, with a green check, even better. So hopefully I can measure it in grams. Yes, here we go, grams. So I'm gonna add that, and I'm gonna do 40 grams. Right there. Perfect. And yes, trust me, that's about right. Mushrooms and onions are going to be super low macro, so I'm going to add that. Then remember, I did add a little bit of butter to my sweet potato, so I'm going to incorporate that, the Kerrygold butter. I did a half a teaspoon, so I'm just going to make sure that's right. I'm going to add that. And then let's see here. Use the arrow at the very top left to kind of go back and see where your meal is. So I've got my beef, I've got my onions, I've got my mushrooms. Oh, I need my sweet potatoes. All right, so I've got to go back and add more food. So I'm going to go down here where it says add food. I'm going to look up my sweet potatoes. Sweet potato. Okay, great. Here's one with a green check. So I had 150 grams of sweet potatoes. So let's see how I can do this. This is one that can kind of get a little tricky because it only allows you to track 99 grams at a time. Let's see if it'll let me, okay, so you can switch it to decimal, and I can actually track now 150. Perfect. That makes it so much easier. So that is exactly how much I got for that sweet potato. So we're gonna go back using that left upper corner, and here we go. We've got our steak. And actually we could probably go back now that no, that's right. I like that. Okay, so we've got all of our steak. You can even add instructions on how to use it, how to make it. You can even go and I can snap a really quick picture of it. So I'm like, oh, this is my little meal, confirm. And now you've got that all ready. And then you just go up to the very top and click save. So here's the deal. Now, when I eat that for lunch, all I'm going to do is click add food, meals, sweet potato and steak. I'm going to click that I had one serving, and I'm going to click the check. And there it is. So easy. So I made up 4 of those, so they're going to be so easy to log in the long run. And you can see the macros are really nice on that meal. Just about 400 calories, 35 grams of protein, 37 grams of carbohydrates, and 14 grams of fat. I hope this was helpful. Be sure to share this with your friends and family, and be sure to save it for later.